But you also did a lot of research into gaze behavior on the basketball court, if I'm correct. And I think also in police. And the last 2 years, I learned a lot about gaze behavior. For example, Dr. Bill Lewinsky from Science heavily emphasized external focus of attention.
Yes.
I think he also talks about using external focus of attention as an emotion regulation tool, if I'm correctly. Maybe the thinking is like, if you have an external focus of attention, your attention is in a is in a good place and not in your head.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there are so many related concepts also in the gaze behavior, like the quiet eye and so on. But can you give a brief overview about gaze behavior in police performance, and what did you found, and what can we learn from this?
Yeah, well, so it is related also to the model on stress, because we say anxiety leads to a change in the balance between goal-directed attention and stimulus-driven attention that you don't want. Attention as such is difficult to measure. One of the things that we can technologically measure very well within several tasks nowadays, but 20 years ago that was really a challenge, but nowadays it's quite easy to do, is actually measure visual attention. Visual attention is, well, this is what you do with your gaze behavior. You attend to the things that you want to see. And the terms that I would rather want to use than external, internal, although that is relevant as well, is whether it's task relevant or task irrelevant. If the task is scanning, as I said, then you need, so to speak, a broad external focus. Because you need to see what's out there. But then if you come to the situation that you need to fire, you need a narrow external focus of attention. But I would rather call that in both cases, in the one, it's task relevant. It's task relevant to scan and look around. And in the other situation, it's task relevant to focus on the target that you want to hit. And this is also what I did in the basketball shooting. Found out when and for how long should you look at the rim in order to hit the shot, and then see whether you can actually train that as well. It could be something that you train explicitly, maybe with a device. It's the difficult thing. The difficult part is that it's 99% unconscious processes where you look and what you do. People don't know that. But that's why it's so interesting that you can investigate that. And within the shooting tasks that we investigated within the thesis of Arne Nieuwenhuis, we did show, as I mentioned earlier, that if you put people in distress, they were actually not looking at the targets at all. Their visual attention went all over the place while the person was standing over there. Rather than, okay, I need to shoot him or her, and I need to now focus very narrow on where I want to hit that person. So it fits with the model that with anxiety or in a stressful situation, attention is harmed. So you no longer have optimal attention, meaning that your attention goes to task irrelevant things in the environment rather than the task relevant thing that you should focus on.
And how can we use this for training? So can I recognize that my visual attention is off, or can I, on the other hand, can I learn to keep my eyes on target, so to speak?
Yeah, you can learn that, but it's difficult. Well, one thing is with the training under pressure things that we did in the thesis of Arne Nieuwenhuis, without saying anything about attention, or we just put them in the situation and we trained them, we found that gaze behavior also restored together. And then on top, which is a prerequisite for proper shooting, you need to look at the target in order to hit the target. It doesn't have to be long, but you need to look at the target somewhere just before you pull the trigger. And we saw that, again, when we first put them in the stressful situation, attention went all over the place, performance went down. When they trained a few times, attention restored and performance restored.
But are you saying that if your visual attention is the result of other processes going more well, or
actually, performance is the result of attentional processes being still okay after you've trained in those situations. So it's something that implicitly restores, can restore. That doesn't mean that you may not do explicit stuff with visual attention to actually improve that. What was his name? Mark Wilson and his colleagues, they actually investigated gaze behavior, quiet eye. Quiet eye is also the period that you focus on your target just before you shoot at the target, whether it's in penalty shooting or basketball or handgun shooting. And they found that if you give them instructions about look at the rim now and so, and then that also helped in basketball shooting, also in a stressful situation. So it is possible to do that. I don't know of any research within police shooting, for instance, but within basketball and penalty shooting, they investigated that, and they found that if you, and so you can do it implicitly by bringing them in situations, which is what we did, but you can train possibly explicitly by giving them separate instructions. As I said, you should make sure that the explicit instruction actually affects the implicit and unconscious processes that are going on. And again, using the constraints-led approach, you could think about manipulating the environment, or maybe using goggles or light dark or whatever to make sure when people can and cannot see the environment. And this is a training that a visual attention training that we developed for the basketball shot, where we designed goggles that could be opened and closed, where at first people do not see the rim, basketball players, but just before taking the shot, the goggles open, forcing them to look at that instant at the rim and make the shot. Because research has shown that not everyone does that automatically in a proper way.
And was it transferable, the skill from the basketballers, then when they had the goggles off?
Yeah. So by training with these goggles, they actually improved their shooting.
Yeah. Okay.
So assumedly because their gaze behavior improves, which is something that we wanted to show but have not been able to show yet. But if you shoot better, your gaze behavior should be better as well.
Okay, great. I've one more question, because I have to be cautious about your time also, and that's about the embodied choice framework. And I tried to, for many years, to get a